Corky will probably.
Everybody, I'd like to welcome you back to this week's episode of Tabletop Tavern with your hostess with the mostest, Gamer Mom Luma.
Nice. Mine's laying in dirt.
My door's shut.
Oh, we are live, everybody. How are you? We are discussing the whereabouts of our pets right now. So, so you got to come into that conversation, but I told everyone it's okay. We are a very pet-friendly channel. So welcome for another episode of Tales from the Tavern. I had to remember what day of the week it was for a second. Holy moly. It is Thursday night. We have a great group of people here. All of them are brand new to visiting our channel, so I'm really excited about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have everyone go around real quick and give us a quick introduction of who they are, and then we'll get all of your Tolmac's like new blood. Oh yes. And then we will get the conversation rolling. So let's see. I'm going to start with Livia. Let's start with you.
Oh, goody. No pressure.
No pressure.
Hi.
You got this.
So if you
Hi,
want to just tell everyone
I'm
who you
Livia.
are and where you're from. Yeah.
I'm Livia. I'm from the United States, from my parents. I'm coming from the FrostWalker's podcast. We are a twice a month actual play D&D podcast, which I am the DM of our current second season. And that's about it.
All right.
That's all
Well,
I got.
thanks.
I was put on the spot.
I know. I'm sorry. Let's see.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Casey, we have you next.
Yeah, I am not Dice Populi.
I know. I just
love
noticed that. I went, oh, I did not catch that before.
It's all good. Yeah, they are great though. So if I can be them if I want the credit, I guess. But they're pretty cool. I'm Casey Williams. Caseyt92 is my Twitch channel. I am the host of Cover to Cover, an every other week interview show where I talk with wonderful tabletop community people. And we do Friday night playtests where we're running through as many games as I can possibly cram into a year. I do lots of other stuff, but those are the main things.
Excellent. Well, thank you for yes. As Wolfsblood put in chat, Casey, aka not Dice Populi.
I'm changing my Twitter handle to that. Just saying.
We'll let them know. All right, let's see. And next we have Adam, MicsAndMosnters.
Yes, I am Adam Culbertson from Microphones and Monsters. I'm the DM over there. We are a Cthulhu Mythos D&D 5th edition actual play, and I don't know, it's a lot of fun. We got a lot of cool characters over there. Not your traditional kind of story, so it's fun.
That's awesome. Well, welcome. Let's see. We have the IronBoundChest coming to hang out with us today.
Hold on a minute. So my screen is flashing very abruptly. But hi, my name is Austin Moraga. I am the host of the IronBoundChest. I'm a one-man show who does interview podcasts, which a bunch of people. I've done one with Mike of Microphones and Monsters, and you, Luna. I just had one this week.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Thanks so much for being able to pick up at the last minute and join us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And last but definitely not least, Heather.
Hello, I'm Heather. I'm a player on the FrostWalker's podcast with lovely Livia. I run the Instagram account DM Dad Jokes, which, sorry, I've been kind of inactive. If anyone's on there, memes are hard to come by, good ones. And I also run D&D games professionally all around the capital region of New York State.
That's very cool. Well, welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm gonna jump right in. We don't usually jump in with a question from chat, but we ended up getting a couple like right off the bat. So I'm going to ask a question that came in from Jim the Dim to get the conversation going. Question for everyone. If you could be a fly on the wall for any real play podcast, which would it be?
Dimension 20.
Oh.
Not a podcast, but Dimension 20, no doubt.
Good call. So a fly on the wall for any actual play podcast?
That was the question, yes.
All right. It's going to take a second.
I'd have to say Adventure Zone. I want to know what they're doing behind the scenes while they're making all these goofs. I just want to know. I have to know what their secret is.
I want to think the McElroys are super serious in real life.
No,
That'd be
for sure. They're just as
hysterical.
goofy as ever. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine them boys just being anything but just goober goofs.
I've absorbed a lot of my goofy energy, chaotic DM energy from Griffin McElroy. So if he's not like that in real life, and I just sit in, like, you know, as a fly, not on the wall, maybe on his shoulder, watching him creepily through my fly eyes,
Staring
And
down
he's
at you with
nice.
your little fly eyes.
rubbing my
Not
little
weird
fly
at
hands
all.
together.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Like-
second. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just making a goof.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to second Taz there, the Adventure Zone. That was my introduction to actual play podcasts. So I actually listened to it to try and learn how to DM like a year and a half ago. So
Nice.
I don't remember if during our interview there, Mike, that we both were just like, yeah, Taz is where we got, because I also
yeah.
I had also talked about, like, I had listened to the Adventure Zone, but also another podcast called the Glass Cannon Podcast, which is Pathfinder. And like they set me down on the path of like, I really want to do this. Like, I had a passion for D&D for years. I never played it. And then finally I listened to those two podcasts and was like, it feels like I could do this, you know, it's easy enough, it seems like, though. So I'd say, but I don't think I'd say the Adventure Zone. I think I'd go with not another D&D podcast. Like that one.
Nat Pod,
Tim,
nice.
yeah,
That
one
is
was
a
Hell
really
good
yeah.
podcast.
Yes, it
Love
is.
Nat Pod.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of like a bleed into Dimension 20 in a way, because you have Murph and Emily. So
And hey, Dimension 20 does bleed into the Adventure Zone too with Tiny Heist. So
oh really? Oh
yeah,
okay.
I just
haven't
started
gotten there
Tiny
yet.
Heist. It's so funny. It's so good.
Nice, yeah.
So I'm going to go a different way. I would absolutely want to be a fly on the wall for the Lawful Great Adventures podcast. I have been listening to them. I'm on episode 28, so I'm not quite caught up yet. And they are just phenomenal group of storytellers. So I am super invested. Like, even my 12-year-old daughter has now started listening to the podcast with me, and she was legit mad at me for finishing episode 28 without her. So,
That's
yeah,
when you know you've gone too far.
I know. So yeah, it was, I mean, they just are really, you know, they're telling a really amazing story, and I'm just like, oh, I want to listen to it all the time, but I just can't, because, you know, real life gets in the way and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
My-
I just didn't have to sleep.
Yeah, I would just
What if
stay up
we
and
ju-
listen to
could just-
podcasts all night.
We
Me.
could just trance like elves. If we could just
Yeah,
trance like elves, we'd not even 4. Get 30 minutes.
Still
Yeah,
have a
just
terrible sleep schedule,
short
but
rest.
as an elf.
I know people who can do
Yes.
that though. Like I've seen
Oh,
it
same.
at my job. People like have like 15 minutes to 30-minute breaks, and it's just like, all right, I got 5 minutes left. I'm gonna take a nap. And then the
Imagine-
I
bell
can do
rings, and it's
that.
like, hey, I'm like awake
Nah.
now.
can't
I
do
did
that.
that once back when I was a player in the FrostWalker's podcast, and I was just like dead tired. I was like, you know what? My character's not going to say anything because it's not my turn in initiative. And I know the 5 people before me are all magic users, and all I do is punch things. Knocked out for about 2 minutes and woke back up when it was my turn.
There you go.
And
I'm
no
gonna go a
one
different
ever
way
knew.
and say boarding parties, Pokemon D&D game they have on their
Ooh.
channel. They seem to have a great time with it, and they're very loosey-goosey and are kind of defining their own way of playing a Pokemon tabletop as they go.
Nice. Oh yeah, I heard
Yeah.
about that one time.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's a really interesting story that kind of doesn't care about established Pokemon lore. And
Good.
I love it for that.
You don't need to care about the established lore of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Canon.
Just
We need
just
that.
have an Oshawott fight a Charmander and no one will care.
There you go.
Pokemon are Pokemon, you know? I'm
Yeah.
sure
People
that
just want the cute ones or the
Pikachu.
strong ones.
I want the nasty looking ones. It's like I want to get like a really ugly, mangy old cat with like one ear, and I want it to love me. I want to develop such a bond with this cat. I want it to be my
That would
best
be cute.
friend. And I want to have like a little old dude just like chilling at my side, purring with his like one ear. Like that's the
See,
When you said little old dude, I imagine like an actual old dude.
just a little
I
actual old man.
I thought like an old Mr. Mime. That's what I was thinking of. Just like a ring, like.
I just
Yeah.
saw
Got
some,
one eye.
I just saw some Critical Role art for Laura Bailey's pet ferret Sprinkle that was like scar across the eye and like missing patches of fur and a jester tattoo, and that's what I have in my head, but as like a Pachirisu.
Oh my
I saw
gosh.
this really funny animatic of Sprinkle the other day. I was like dying. Sprinkle's such a good little personality.
You know, Heather,
I also
whenever you,
cosplay Jester.
way back whenever you were saying about like I want just like the nastiest, dirtiest Pokemon. I mean, for some reason it's like, so you want like a Grimer, you want like a Muck, you want like the trash Pokemon and all that stuff. I'm like,
A Trubbish.
why? They would smell horrible.
If she wants a Sarah McLachlan Pokemon.
Oh man.
The ones nobody adopts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the ones you feel sorry for.
Then you get a great Facebook video though of like
Oh,
the
God.
like cutscene of the montage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
put some Enya in the background of it, you know.
Oh my
My
gosh.
God.
Yes.
I do gotta wonder later on mentioning Sprinkle how everyone feels. I've been wondering how I feel about like plot armor for pets in games.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, NADPOD kind of does that. If you're talking about like a D&D or tabletop role playing sense.
Yeah. By all
I mean,
accounts,
yeah.
Sprinkle should be dead,
Oh,
but it's not fun
Yeah.
for anyone if that happens.
Yeah.
yeah. I've had players like it depends on the pet because I've had players be like, I want to get a dog as a watchdog. If they die, they die. Cool. And then there's a player who's like, can I get a frog? And I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely. Of course you can get a frog. Later on, it like this frog's become like a main character in the campaign. Like they have a salamander friend
Aw.
with buttons that's like a little bit of a kleptomaniac, and it's adorable. I'm not
This
gonna
is the
kill the
cutest
frog.
thing. No.
I can't. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
I had a harrowing Curse of Strahd playthrough. I made a one of my favorite characters that I've made, Creed, was a fire genocide gunslinger. And part of his backstory was that like the town he was from, everyone got together and bought him a horse. And I spent all my money on a horse for the start of the game. And Strahd took that horse and later rode in on a nightmare. And I was so done with that game.
Oh,
no.
That
no.
sucks.
Wow.
Oh.
Heartbreak.
big time. Oh my gosh.
Speaking of nightmares and dealing with Pokemon, do you think that like Rapidash and Ponyta would be a cool substitute for like a nightmare?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a black Ponyta or like a black Rapidash.
That would be
That would be
so
really cool,
That'd be
actually.
so
Why
cool.
isn't Ponyta black?
Like that's what the shiny
That's-
version should be.
Right?
It-
Instead of
right?
just like blue mane and tail.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Come on.
Skeletal.
That's the shiny
Oh,
version
that'd be
should
cool.
be
Skeletal.
Make
Yes.
Ponyta goth. Please.
yes.
God,
Yeah.
Ponyta. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Kids have their Pokemon.
Here's the thing. Do you guys remember like okay, do you all remember the what was it like the Pokemon trading card game, but they came out with like the Team Rocket versions?
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda, yeah. Well, it was super cool. It was so awesome. Like all these Pokemon cards were like, oh, this one's ruled by Team Rocket, and it was very dark. Well, they should just do
Edgy.
that, but just make it like you said, like goth. Like make them like face makeup, like just like band tees, baggy pants, chains, whatever. It'd be so cool.
Pokemon Coliseum bordered on that with kind of Hot Topic Pokemon aesthetic.
Oh,
Hot
God.
Topic Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a JRPG.
Pictured punk Jigglypuff. Just for a
Badass.
moment.
Oh,
Sounds
yeah.
badass.
The
I'm pretty
eyeliner,
sure-
the piercings.
I'm
Somebody
trying to
in
do, like, a
chat-
search for that.
Somebody in chat just said animal companions never die in my games. They just run away and we find out later they're living their best life in a nearby sanctuary. They still know you, but you know they are better off where they are.
That's how my character's parents told him growing up.
Yes. Back in season 1 of the FrostWalker's podcast, our wonderful DM B became almost famous for the amount of pets he gave us. Like, our halfling has a guard drake named Coco, who is purple, that she rides into
Ooh.
battle sometimes when she can remember to ride her into battle. Not a call out. She's got a pet cat. She's got mice. She's got baby griffins. And then, let's see. Then we've got Andre, our rogue, who has a mouse and like a snake and something else that I can't remember, but it's super cool. And then there's the giant man-eating bunny that lives in the basement of the castle. His name is Tim.
For God's sake.
There are those who
my
call me
character,
Tim.
sorry.
Jim?
Yes, it is. That's literally what the joke was.
Yeah.
And then there's my character. There's my character who saw in her very first fight a goblin riding a warg, and said, "Yep, I'm keeping this dog." Named it Mr. Floofers, and I've had it ever since.
That's amazing.
She also
That's
adopted a copper pseudo dragon, and in our most recent live show special episode, she picked up a piece of ice golem and named it Popsicle, and now it's my new favorite thing in the entire world.
I love that
that's
so
amazing.
much.
Chat, you give you so many pets, I swear.
Yeah, one of my characters, my character Etabrix, who is in our Sunday night campaign, she's a halfling rogue ranger fighter, managed to abscond with a dragon egg at one point. 2 dragons were fighting. Our party happened to decide that when they saw the egg fall, that they needed to not let it crash to the ground. So Etabrix has an exceptionally high athletics score and made a diving catch, caught the egg, basically held it, looked at the egg, looked at the party, and then just ran. So she's like, "Peace out, I'm out of here." like just didn't even care what happened to everybody else.
That's what we call a gamer move.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pro gamer move indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
A
I
real
was like,
gamer.
I have a dragon egg. I'm out of here.
Peace.
Pretty much. Oh my gosh. Joe would never give our group a pet. It wouldn't last a day with our party. Yeah, Nick, yeah, that's fair. All right, let's see. I've had a couple other questions. I'm going to throw this one out there because Tolmac asked it, and I think it's worth visiting. He would like to know, are strange women lying in ponds distributing swords a good basis for a system of government?
As long as there's enough swords for everybody, not just the 1% of the 1%. Everyone at least get a dagger.
Oh gosh.
I mean, if I went around saying I was an emperor just because some moistened bink lobbed a scimitar at me, I think they'd throw me away.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'd take a sword from a lady in the pond. The sword and it's a lady. I don't know what the downside is.
I actually got in game a sword from a lady in a lake.
Oh my gosh.
So I
That's
have
cool.
to say it's a fair system. You get swords, everyone gets a sword, you get a sword, you get a sword. It's the Oprah of swords.
It's the Oprah of
The
swords.
Oprah,
Oprah of the
swords.
lake.
Wow. The Oprah of the lake. My
The
God,
Oprah of the
yes.
lake.
Please.
Oh
make
my god,
that
this
as,
needs
like,
to be a
set
thing in
pin.
somebody's game now.
See, I would probably use
Someone's
that
making it
as
into a homebrew right now.
Breath of the
Right?
Wild 2, please.
Breath of the Wild 2. Oprah of swords.
Oprah themed Great Fairy, that would be my favorite one. She upgrades all my armor.
Yes.
check under
I would
your seat,
probably-
and there's a +1 weapon.
I would use it as a trap.
Nope.
A trap?
Yeah.
Wow. That's harsh, though.
And it's not a
If you're-
lady, it's actually an old one that's underneath the leg that's gonna.
I could be like a sea
Yeah.
hag.
Curse you.
Oh,
This is where the English teacher comes out in me, and I'm like, but it was the scabbard that's magic, and then my players throw books at me.
Oh no. See, but the thing with it being an acceptable like currency government is what if someone gets a sword that's better than yours?
It's true.
Yeah.
Like they have like a let's talk game sense. Like isn't like I got a +3 sword from this other woman down the other lake. You know.
We have to
Mhm.
establish a set of centralized sword banking based on the Cutlass standard.
Can you
And
get
then,
more than one sword?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Can you get more than one sword?
in
Or
this
do they
modern
know?
economy, you can invest in bit sword, but you need to hurry up.
Yeah.
Bit-
Oh my god.
bit-
So-
no, bit sword is just knives.
yeah,
Just
right.
use it now.
A little tiny-
Crypto sword
knives.
currency.
It's the Elder Scrolls summon swords, I think. They go away
Oh gosh,
eventually if
yeah.
you don't.
Yeah.
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
Then some famous Nigerian prince asks to buy all your swords.
Yeah.
There you go.
They're
If
like,
I
"No, but
send
we'll give
you-
more
if I
back,
send you a-
promise."
If I send you 500 swords, you'll get back 1,000 afterwards.
Trust me.
Exactly. Would I
Uh,
lie
Roll
to you?
perception.
Yeah.
He's like,
Uh,
"I'm a blacksmith," and you're like, no.
Nick also asked in chat, Nick from Know Your Role, also is being skewered by a misthrown sword covered by workers' comp.
Who
Oh, it's
threw the
gotta
sword?
be. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think
Who
if you could
throws a
trace the
sword?
sword back to
Honestly.
the owner,
There you
and
go.
if it's within the workplace technically, or the bounds of
Yes.
maybe this kingdom or whatever it is your boundaries are, there should probably be some kind of laws or bylaws or something that's like, okay, here, we got you covered. You know, it's like call 1-800, I've been stabbed. I need conversation.
Okay.
Unless it's a
First-
dancing sword, then it's artistic.
Yeah,
Sure.
there
Oh
you
my
go.
gosh.
So
That's-
in this theoretical world, are swords currency or are they status symbols or both?
Both.
Ooh,
Yes.
No,
Money
it
is-
could be
Just, like,
both.
go to the
It's
store and
status.
be like, I want a sandwich. Here's a +1 dagger, and they'll be like, we'll get you a good fucking sandwich for
Yeah.
like, okay, just
Here's-
clarifying.
Here's the thing. So just like in normal fantasy games, you know, you have copper, you have silver, you have gold, you have electrum, which no one ever uses,
Right.
and then platinum.
I'm gonna make it a thing.
Why not just have that with swords though? Like, I need like 5 copper swords or 5 copper daggers. You know.
What kind of
like,
J.K.
there you
Rowling
go.
ass commerce is this?
Yeah.
That would be effective in
But
terms
that's
of
why-
like having to carry swords.
Well, I was gonna say that's
Oh,
why you get like a
man.
bag of holding or like a pocket dimension, and then you're just like, hey, okay, here's like 5, or 6 gold swords, to pay for my expensive Bugatti car or something like that, like.
But you've got to be a
That's-
certain age to get a pocket dimension because you know some like 13-year-old is going to be like, what if I did this? Puts their pocket dimension in another pocket dimension.
Right?
That blows
Yeah.
up
The whole
bro.
world blows up.
You know.
That
have a
means the
license for that thing.
13-year-olds. The 13-year-olds who are like my brother, out making bank, come home rattling swords, just clunk, 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 clunk down
Yeah,
the
there you
street.
go.
I had
Where
to
did you
stuff
get
my
all these
pockets
swords?
full.
Are you selling magic
Drugs.
drugs
Give
or
you
something?
those swords. Was
Yeah.
the man on the street? I told you not to go near there. He
It would
said to
make-
make
wait.
swords.
It would also make
In-
muggings really interesting because
It would.
Do you think muggings would be easier to avoid since you have defense from swords, or do you think that'd be harder because everyone has a sword?
unless
If
if
you
you have
have
an
too
awkward number of
much-
swords.
I was going to say,
yeah.
picking
I've
a
got
sword might be
4
kind of difficult.
swords.
But just because you have a sword doesn't mean you know how to use it properly.
Exactly.
it's
but like, you
But
currency.
the
have
thing
4
is, if there were an
swords.
abundance of swords, would there be an abundance of training surely because of the like accessibility of the weapon?
It's just in the schools. It's
Good
just
question.
the thing now.
It's like a
Yeah.
core class, like English, math,
It's part of
science,
PE.
history,
Sure.
English,
swordsmanship.
math,
It's just part of
science,
PE.
home ec, and sword fighting, as opposed
would
to PE.
definitely-
And stabbing.
And
would
Until they cut the
stabbing.
budget.
It would make
Yeah,
the
that's
It's
stock
true.
market-
And sword fighting's the first to go, of course.
It's always
Yep.
the first thing to
God.
go.
Always no sword
two
fighting
different
could be
pool.
athletics. So
Yeah.
Say, that's why I was like,
They
if
get
you go
all-
with
there you
PE,
go.
just stick it with PE. You have the extracurricular or like after school activities. Like, you got your football, you got your basketball, you got your soccer, you got your fencing and sword play. You know, you just add
Future
it into
Sword
those.
Fighters
Yeah,
of
there you
America's
go.
Club.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
That would make the
Amazing.
stock market really interesting in a sword-based economy, though, because I imagine it's just like
Good.
throwing weapons at like a pole that says like Apple at the top of it.
Yeah.
I'd imagine there'd be a lot of duels.
Yeah.
Oh, bring back.
I get
bring
all
back
your
the-
shares if I win.
Yeah.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
That would actually
Yeah.
probably be better. Casey, 2024, guys. I'm running.
There we go. All right.
Nice.
Yep, I'll vote for you.
I'm gonna
Right.
take all the guns and
I'll vote for
money
you.
and give you swords.
I'm okay with this
In the
plan.
sword-based
Yeah.
economy, are blacksmiths the same as like counterfeit money makers?
I
That's
think that blacksmiths would be like celebrities.
Or jewelry,
Yeah.
like jewelry salesmen. Like they got
That's
the
good.
little
Yeah.
So
magnifying
then
glass
you end up with
inspecting
the
it and
guys that
everything.
are like on the side of the road with a trench coat, and they're like, "You want to see a
What are you
great sword?"
buying?
Wanna buy a sword?
Yeah. I mean, black market
Wanna buy some
sword
blades?
dealers. Yeah.
Why would you
Yeah.
buy
But
a
our
sword
swords-
if swords are money?
Are swords standardized, and are they worth more based on their damage or based on their aesthetic?
Ooh,
point.
depends
Because
on
if
your
they're standardized, then like you can't have like a designer sword because that's like fucking doodling on money, and that's like illegal, right?
Mhm.
I think it's based
True.
on length.
Depends
of
on who
sword.
does it.
Every inch of blade
Length of
is,
sword,
is-
really rich people just have fucking 16-foot swords.
Yeah.
How about the I
Like a
could
Don
stab you
Bateau,
from
like from
20
This
Bleach.
chariot will
Like
cost you
Sephiroth
18
sword.
inches of blade. Yes,
Right.
Sephiroth is-
Yeah, yeah.
So, so
Just
wait,
chop
every
it off
time
and give it.
you just shave off a bit of your sword.
I mean,
The
hey.
really poor
There you
people just
go.
have the hilt.
Yeah.
Oh man,
God.
yeah.
Get out your like iron file and you're like, here, beggar.
Guys, this is going to be adamantium on drive-through like next week. Who's
I mean,
writing?
I hope so.
Yeah, right. Somebody
Make
get
a
on
whole
that,
supplement.
please.
Make a whole supplement about this.
Do you
Like
think
hilts
Taco
with-
Bell will? Good, I'm making a goof.
Do it. Do it.
Do you think Taco Bell would let me get a burrito in exchange for showing them the sword that I have? I don't know where it is. I was gonna hang it up back there for this. I have no clue where it is right now.
Just for looking
I
at
think
it.
that's
Yeah.
considered
Just for looking at it. Try.
threatening.
Give me that. I'll show you my sword if you give me that burrito.
Yeah, there you go.
bro. But it would probably have to be like a back alley deal, maybe. I don't think the managers would allow that though.
That's true. That's true. But like, if the managers weren't there, and I was like, "Hey, can I get like a shredded chicken quesadilla? It's $1.29. Like, look what I got. You can hold it for 5 minutes.
Just
Like,
a
well,
peek.
you can get a free
That might be
Casey,
threatening.
drop a dagger onto the bottom platform of that weird little coin thing.
yeah.
Ooh, that's a
Oh,
good
Oh.
one. Yeah.
that is a good one.
Mm.
Yeah, because there's no coins. There's just
Yeah.
swords.
Roll a
Yes, sir.
dexterity save.
So you
Yeah.
get like the dollar menu from all the restaurants, you know, McDonald's, Taco
menu?
Bell, whatever, and you'd be like, "Here's my butter knife. Give me my $1.29 burrito."
Oh,
So
God. That's
Here's
why I
a
think
butter
that, like,
knife
the
and a
blacksmiths would
fork.
be
Give
it.
me an ice cream cone.
Yeah, that's why I think like you would need like blacksmiths or something like that, or some kind of like we were talking about like a standardized way of like forging the swords, making sure that they are up to standards or whatever. To be like, you can't just give me this butter knife. This is useless in this economy.
This is plastic.
Then
Right?
what,
Yeah.
what is plastic swords worth? What are
Like a
plastic swords
halfpenny's
worth?
worth or something.
right?
Yeah.
Are plastic swords the same as like wooden nickels now?
I was gonna say, what if they're like fake money that you give to like kids and they like play like McDonald's or whatever?
Yes.
Monopoly
Am I the only
money
one
is
who
now
used
With their
do
little
that?
with their little
Oh my
Barbie
gosh.
cash
Plastic
registers.
Exactly. And they have like
Eventually-
little plastic swords.
Eventually, once you have a good job and your credit score is high enough, you get a master sword and you just charge things to that.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
You start playing Monopoly with like those little like the little plastic red swords that are used to stab like maraschino cherries and drinks.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
I
yeah.
love those. I'll still play with those today.
Right? I would totally use that as currency in Monopoly.
This
Is
is a
this-
weird
yeah,
allegory
exactly.
for America, but I'm here for it.
Right?
Are we
I
just
know.
world
Yep.
building right now? Is this just
Yeah.
what we're doing?
I think that's what's
Okay,
happening
yeah.
at the
Just-
moment.
this
Yeah.
This is just the new world. Welcome to Swords World.
Swords
Yeah.
World, yeah.
Swords world.
Kwame in chat just said
Celebrate
cubicles and
different-
paychecks. Pretty much.
If I got paid in swords, I would be a much happier person. Let me
Right?
freaking tell you.
Yeah, this makes me regret like giving all my swords to my mother when I moved to college and be like, I don't need these anymore. I'm an adult now. I'm like, fuck no. Like, I want these swords. The same thing that happened to like my Pokemon blanket that is, I think, just out of screen right now. I went to college
can see
and
it
she's
too.
like, and she was just like, oh, honey, do you want this? I'm like, no, that's going to be embarrassing when I'm at college. I'm not going to take that.
I did that
And
with a
then-
bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards and then sold a Blue Eyes White Dragon that I found in my closet the other day, and I have been
Nice.
regretting it all week.
Yeah. And it sucked for me though, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. There's gonna be so many more mature things I'm gonna do in college. And like the first week I made such nerdy friends. They're like, you're into like Pokemon and Power Rangers and all this stuff. I'm like, called up my mom. I'm like, hey, do you think you could send me that Pokemon blanket? Like, I changed my mind.
Right.
I changed my mind.
It turns out it's cool to have that stuff at college now.
This is why you go to school for theater.
Amen.
Everyone-
Do that.
Yeah.
Freaking.
See, I went to school for social work, and social work is all about meeting people where they're at. So there you go.
I went to school for landscape architecture, and I'm not doing anything with that now.
It's all good.
Mm.
It's
I didn't go to school because I decided I'm just not up to that. I'm gonna do fun stuff instead.
As
Hey.
an
Oh, I
adjunct
definitely
college
dropped out.
teacher, good job.
Right.
I'm still deciding. Took a gap
My
year.
dean won't see this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned how to pack parachutes.
There you go.
That's way cooler.
It is
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
that's a
Exactly.
super important job, actually.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
It's
You're
life
right.
saving
That's
equipment.
life skills.
Yeah.
Whoever's packing the
preserving equipment.
parachute has to be great.
Oh
That must
my
pay like
goodness.
5 swords an hour. I mean,
Yeah, easily
five.
five
Yeah,
swords
5
an
swords
hour.
an hour.
6 if you're lucky.
And you get a bonus of an extra sword if it saves somebody's life.
and tax free when you go into combat. So
a
There
lot
you
of guys
go.
that pack parachutes though, they spend all their swords on a nice Mustang like right out the gate. And
yeah, fuck that.
What happens to the people who like work in food service and they get tips in swords?
There's just a giant
Just the
craft
tip.
can.
Throwing
It's a
knife.
giant barrel. Here, a sword for your trouble.
Here's a sword.
I was slain by Lady Karen, who gave me a rather nasty tip.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
And the Karens in this universe could just take their sword and stab you and say, "Give me the manager."
Oh, that's
The
a
retail would be a
terrifying idea.
nightmare. for sure.
No longer demanding, they say, "Give me."
Yeah.
just stab the manager.
They walk up to the manager with a sword in their face, say, "We're talking right now."
Tolmac says that
Give
maybe
me my
tips.
20% off coupon or else.
Tolmac just said that maybe tips would be sword materials.
But could you?
I think that's
I
not a
think
good
that-
idea, honestly.
I know.
Is that on?
What if
Is
we're
making
standardizing
using swords
swords
to make
that
swords
make
on
your own
Skillshare or?
Sword making YouTube tutorials.
Sword making YouTube tutorials. Honestly, not a bad idea.
Except for it's
Yeah.
not because it's fantasy, it's not YouTube. It's like iris messaging. So it's like coming through the fountains at cool rest stop areas, like a continuous loop of a sword making tutorial.
That'd be super cool.
I gotta say, I came in this with the imposter syndrome like way high, but inventing a ridiculous world with a sword economy has really just
Honestly,
Saved
Pretty
you.
good.
like I said, this is world building.
Right.
That's just what
Yeah,
we're
I
doing.
really hope that we are like, let's collaborate and build like a whole world based on sword economy. Okay.
Right.
Can we do a one shot based in Sword World, please? Honestly,
Let's
like
do
I'll
it.
volunteer to write that. I do
There you
it.
go.
Heather,
Very
please do.
I've written weirder. I wrote
mean-
a one shot based off of like these little free Snoopy books that people got from McDonald's. And
Oh
there,
my
it became
word.
like an inside joke at one of my tables that Snoopy's like an all-knowing deity. So I wrote like a 4-hour one shot based
Oh
on
my
the
god.
pantheon of Snoopy.
Nice.
I
Cookies are
love
great,
that.
man.
Pantheon
it.
of Snoopy?
I'd
Yeah.
worship Snoopy.
Joker.
I-
Honestly,
What's
The
that little
Red
bird
Baron?
name?
Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Oh
Woodstock.
God. The Red Baron is like the evil. No, it wouldn't be evil because the Red Baron's pretty dope. Like he's a good guy.
I think
Yeah.
That's
Snoopy's
his
the
like
villain.
his like human. It's like his human form when he tries to go into the mortal realm.
Yeah, there you go.
He's like, look at me, I'm amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
So cool. One time a friend of mine and I we were actually making we were working on a cosplay. We were having like a cosplay craft night, and we drank probably more than our fair share of wine in the process. And and all of a sudden, like, we're talking about I don't even remember like what some of the stuff we said was, but we were like, that was from the book of Gonzo, chapter 3, verse 11, you know? Like, so now Gonzo has his own book in some holy text somewhere. So, you know, that's
Simply
a thing now.
amazing.
Yeah.
As he should.
I
Yeah.
mean, joke stuff working its way into games just makes me happy. We're streaming tomorrow night. We're streaming an entire tabletop game that is a meme. I found the other day someone hacked Honey Heist and made a version where you're cats,
Oh,
and it's High
What?
Hopes and it's called High Hopes in the Kitchen. I don't understand why I cannot have the chicken. That's the name of the game, and we're gonna be playing Honey Heist,
Yeah.
but as cats trying to steal a turkey.
I need a link
I
to
just
this.
physically
Yeah.
felt my brain produce so much serotonin. I literally
Yes.
felt it.
That moment when someone talks about cats so hard that your brain just explodes.
Right?
Literally.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was
I'm gonna be real
messaging
extra
back and forth
about
with
it,
somebody
too.
earlier today, and I said it was literally a video of somebody doing a play-by-play of their cat, and I was like, I sent a message back and I said, we need to do play-by-play of cat videos. Like, this needs to be our life goal now.
Yep.
Like as like a sports commentator or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, amazing! I'd tune in every moment.
Right?
I will
Mhm.
tune in, but only if you do the Henri the Existentialist Cat video series, because that one's my favorite.
Well, this guy in the video was like, and here we see the domestic house cat, you know, and blah blah blah. And then the next thing you know, and he's like, and he's just so cute while he's cleaning his little squish bean toes. And I'm like, yeah, that would be us. That would absolutely be us.
Oh, 100%.
Freaking adorable.
Right? I know.
It's just like those Snoop Dogg Animal or Planet Earth videos. Those are some of my favorite
Yes.
on the internet.
Those are good. Those
Yep.
are really good.
Those are great. All right. So this next question is a very quick question for Austin. It comes from Nick,
Okay.
who is Relic at Know Your Role. And he says,
Ah.
Austin, are you as excited as I am for our interview next week?
You better bet, buddy. I am. I am always excited. I am really, honestly, always excited to get to talk to like all my upcoming guests, and I'm really looking forward to like you and like so many others. But like, my God, like just everything that I see of like you on Twitter and stuff like that, I'm just like, hell yeah! Like, you better bet I'm ready.
I gotta ask Ironbound, as far as interview, because that's kind of what I'm doing with Cover to Cover as well. But I'm kind of just getting into it. We're 6 episodes in right now.
Cool.
What do you look for when you're like going out looking for guests? Like, do you have like an MO? Like, I'm looking for this kind of thing, or is it just interesting people?
All right, so give me like a breakdown of like I guess what your the main focus is of that. Like what is it that you would be, I guess, fully talking about or anything?
So for me, when I'm going to look for guests, each week I try to find like something in the tabletop community, like some niche group. Part of my big thing is like I'm a teacher, so I like teaching people things. And there's a lot of people coming in from who are like, oh, D&D is not the only tabletop right now. So I'm trying to invite like someone who's designed a game, and we'll talk about like how like cons and etiquette when you go to a con. Or we might talk about here's how Patreon works. And so I'm looking for people that kind of represent those kind of things. Do you have a kind of theme when you go about inviting people or looking for guests? Or is it just like, oh, here's a really interesting person I want to talk with?
So I'll be straight up honest with you. So this is my first ever podcast for right off the get-go. Also, I have no background. I have zero background in interviews or podcasting or these kind of things, like journalism, whatever. Also, whenever I started, I mean, especially like for me, since I had never really used Twitter, nothing like that, I just sent out a huge open call to people and be like, hey, if you are part of this community, like D&D and tabletop role-playing games, I would sending an open invitation to you all, and just message me and come in, and I'll schedule accordingly, basically. But and then things just kind of fell into place of like, I have like monthly topics for all the year and stuff like that. But in terms of like the questions or to getting specific people, I would just say sending out like an open call, like a specific open call of like, hey, if you have knowledge in Patreon, message me or like comment here or something like that, because it would, and it doesn't have to just be Twitter, it could be whatever you use. But that would get you a good idea of the kind of people, I think, to come in and say like, hey, I've got a lot of experience in this, and maybe I'm interested.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I said I answered.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, because like I joked about imposter syndrome earlier, but that was definitely a thing when I started on Twitch. I was like, I can't reach out to these people. But last week, like I happened to like see Hatchling DM's Inspiriles on Kickstarter, and I was like, can I please talk with you? It's same. And I was like, your thing is so cool. Can we talk? And it was so much fun.
Yeah. I actually had him on Tales from the Tavern last week.
I know, it was so good.
It was good.
Yeah.
His game makes me so happy, and I'm loving to see all this stuff with all these new additions to like promote accessibility within the community right now. Between that and Dislocating DM's combat wheelchair and a couple other projects that I'm just so excited to see. And we were talking about how it's very much like the rising tide in this community is raising all the boats in a wonderful way, and makes me happy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed. I mean, I try to follow a lot of that stuff on Twitter and whatnot, and it's really interesting, just the different conversations that come out of a lot of that stuff. Which, yeah, I love it. I love seeing all of that stuff. I stumbled on Inspiriles, like somebody shared the Kickstarter or whatever, and I went into it like just guns blazing. I was like, I am getting on this one and I am promoting it as much as I can, I backed the Kickstarter. I have a few friends that backed the Kickstarter. I'm super excited about that. And then, I saw the combat wheelchair thing going around on Twitter, and I was like, that's really cool. I love that now there are becoming more and more options available for people who want to play the game the way they want to play the game. So, yeah.
And they both blew up. Both of them like blew up.
Yeah.
It's good. Really happy for them.
Any other cool projects via Kickstarter that anyone's really excited about? I'm really excited for Bolt's Kickstarter to go live.
I just backed it. Oh yeah, go ahead. Tell us about that one first.
I don't know a whole awful lot. I just know I like a lot of the creators' stuff. I know it's an open engine, and I'm mostly excited for it because people I like have been talking about it a lot. If that makes sense. But it looks really cool. I also I want to back those spell trackers.
Yes, the ones from Arcane Spectacles.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So I'm going to throw this out there because I might as well, since they came up in conversation. HowINerd has a partnership with Arcane Spectacles. So anybody in our community who wants to order anything from them, this will not obviously apply to the Kickstarter, but order through their website. Use code HowINerd and you'll get 10% off your order. So
here's
that's awesome.
Here's Bolt. Just to give a quick little, the Bolt RPG engine is a lightning fast D10 plus D4 action adventure RPG engine, merging the streamlined narrative-centric gameplay of indie story games with the tense tactical combat of crunchy action RPGs. Built with as a modular toolbox for anyone to hack, with clear descriptions of rules, honest explanations of gameplay priorities, and instructions for making your own backgrounds, roles, feats, settings, and more. So it's more like a toolbox than a game itself, from what I understand, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Made by Ajay Pandey. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. If not, I apologize.
I've been enjoying seeing a lot of the Kickstarters that have been coming out lately. I've backed 2 other ones actually in the last few weeks, and then I'll be backing the Arcane Spectacles Kickstarter when that comes out. But another one that I backed was a whole different system. It was actually written by somebody that I know. It's a system called Aether and Steamworks. So this is like his 1.5 edition. He released a first edition that's available on I think it's on DriveThruRPG, and so he wrote the whole system. It was written by Tyson Burris, who actually does a lot on one of our stream team channels. That's the Dice Tyrants, and so they run a couple of campaigns of it over there, and it's a really neat looking system. It's it's different enough from a lot of other TTRPGs that I think it'll be really fun. I've seen it played a lot. I haven't played it myself, but I'm excited to give it a try. And then I backed another Kickstarter that was for it was a group that put it out, and it was for like a superheroes I guess like a subclass kind of thing. So that's probably the only way I can describe it. I'll have to look up the actual description of it. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool Kickstarters out there right now.
One of the ones I want to just give a shout out to, I think they must have reached their Kickstarter, because I'm looking at their page though, and it's not giving me a link to Kickstarter, but it's one of the guys who I have previously interviewed. They're not any of the ones that are posted yet, but they're going to be coming up in next month, I believe, though. But it's called Hallister's Compass, and it's really cool looking, and it's basically so this is from their page. It says, a boxed campaign of settingless material, new mechanics, and a dark story that needs the adventurers to have nerves of steel. All those that, and it goes in like, and you can like sign up, and you'll get you said if you sign up, you'll receive a free sample adventure once it's ready. And so it's a 5th edition campaign of, once it's done, it's going to be 10 whole adventures and 5 supplements that takes adventurers from levels 1 to 13. And like just from talking to the guy, like they've been playing D&D since like its inception. Like they are some veteran gamers who know this game inside and out. And actually this adventure in this campaign is taken from one of their old like homebrew, like early like 70s or 80s homebrew campaign that they've since like completely rewritten it, turned it into a 5th edition campaign and stuff like that. And like I'm really excited for it myself. Like it just looks really, really cool. And so like again, like I think they must have made it on Kickstarter already, or fulfilled that, but like it's just something that I'm personally looking forward to in terms of
that
projects.
sounds really cool. The project looks really cool. It looks like a better Yawning Portal type thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I'm gonna have to look at that one.
One Kickstarter that actually recently got fully backed was actually one that sponsored our podcast. We work with them.
Oh, yes.
I am so grateful that this exists. It's never ending. It's like this whole thing with like a character creator, and it's eventually going to be like a scene creator. And it's great because it kind of fills this gap between like the DMs who can't draw and the DMs with money to commission someone else to draw something, because I can't always afford like a beautiful commission of every single one of my NPCs or every single like silly moment we have in our game. And you can go and you can kind of like create it yourself from this like set of sprites. And the second it was pitched, I was like, oh, I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna use this a lot, because I'm like one of the people that had, up until very, very recently, like forever DM syndrome. I was like DMing 4 or 5 or 6 games and like playing in maybe one. And I'd always like, I'm terrible. I forget what NPCs look like. I forget what NPCs sound like. And it's so much easier to have like a picture of them that's not like my horrible sketch than be like, oh, their hair is red. How did I improvise describing that, or inevitably read it incorrectly and say the wrong word?
One of my favorite.
And
that's great. That reminds me of a D&D meme I saw just today. That was it was the guy slapping the tape on the jug of water that's like spilling out.
Yeah.
And it said like me giving my character a different name than the last time I mentioned them because my notes suck. And then the tape was he goes by many names.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty good. That's a smart move, though, I will say.
I've
So this is
definitely
why-
said that.
Please send that to me so I can repost it.
Have
This
any of
is
y'all?
Going
why
for it.
I've got like a 5-page document of what what the NPC's race is, what their name is, what I call them, and what their voice sounds like. Because I know if I forget, I will hate myself for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
I've definitely had characters go from like French to German in the course of a few weeks by accident. Because I should write
Yeah.
that down because I definitely do that.
Yeah. I never write down like during
I
the
really-
session. I'm just so freeform and like
Same.
it's just like fast and loose.
Mhm.
And me, I'm just like I should really start
Yeah.
writing all these notes in. I write down a few like really important ones, but like the voice will change so much, and my players will give me such shit. Just like, oh, that's what he sounds like today, huh? Oh, okay, Austin. All right, perfect.
I tell my players that I'm a very reactionary GM just to make myself feel better. Because
Yeah.
reactionary sounds way
Like
better
that.
than lazy.
Mm-hmm.
It is good, yeah.
Me.
I had
No.
one character that once we got back into recording, we like didn't play for a week or so, or 2 weeks, and I couldn't remember his voice for the life of me. All I could remember is that I could do it if he was being threatened. So one of my players said, "All right, Livy, I can help you," and started threatening both me and the character. And I just immediately reverted into trembling in fear,
Oh,
and doing
no.
the character voice perfectly.
Okay,
Wow.
Brando.
Oh, so a Kickstarter
my-
campaign that I've been I mean it's already been back now, but just recently was Welcome to Tycor Swordsfall.
Mhm.
If you don't know what that is, it's an Afro-punk sci-fantasy RPG by Brandon Dixon. And I
So
love everything that Brandon Dixon does, his blog articles, like everything. So I was really excited that got backed, and it's a standalone game too. Like you can play that without a core rule book and everything. So
I'm really looking for a group to play Summit of Kings with. But so many people, when I'm like, oh, it's like a musical thing, they're like, do I have to perform? I- But it looks
Can I
so good.
What is it?
I mean, sign me up.
So it's basically
Yeah, big name.
Swordsfall Summit of Kings was the first, I think,
yeah, I think so.
first installment of this RPG called Swordsfall that Brandon Dixon is developing. And I love that he's taking kind of an alternate route to it. He's releasing like, I don't think he would call them supplements. It has all the rules you need to
Yeah.
play in Summit of Kings. But
Each
it only has
individual
one
book, yeah.
class. Mhm. So in it, you play a Jalen or a wordsmith. And I'm not going to say they're like bards because that's not fair to it. But if you have to have
Mhm.
something to compare it to, they are musically oriented. They are kind of like the speakers of their community. And the Summit of Kings is their every once in a while they get together to see who's the best. And the game provides rules for and mechanics for lyrical combat, rap battle. And a lot of the NPCs are based
Ooh.
off like
Cool.
real world famous rappers. And the setting Boogie Cove is really cool. Brandon Dixon has described it in a lot of different ways, Swordsfall in general, but Afropunk is the best description, I think, or the most
Yeah.
common. I know he one time said Black Panther meets Game of Thrones.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
love
one.
Hyper RPG did a really cool live stream of it, led up by Abria. I can't remember her last name. But really cool game. And coming up soon is the 5th Ebon Expedition, which will involve Mecha, and I'm really excited.
I think I had seen something on Twitter like a few weeks back, and it was about Swordsfall, I believe. And someone was like, I think it was one of those like very short tweets. It was like, hey, how about we how about they make a Swords Fall like anime on Netflix? Like, how cool would that be? And that's when I did some research, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, I want
comics
this.
are
Like,
great.
that would be amazing.
That very much fits from what I've seen, like the community around that property. It's not just a TTRPG. There's been so many other things, comic books and novels. I think Brandon Dixon is a writer first. He's got a great novel called Bank Heist. You should definitely check that out if you like that. If you like novels and like books. But he's definitely like he's taken every avenue he can to bring things into like the Swords Fall world. He has a clothing line that he's made up. There's the novels. Someone made the first drink to go with the game, the Tycor Twist.
That's so cool.
I am currently experimenting. I made my first prototype for a Bogey Cove Blue to go with Summon of Kings, but it's not done yet, so I don't want to talk about it.
Fair enough.
It's a riff on a Blue Hawaiian, but I don't know anything else about it.
I love all the artwork of bull terriers and stuff that's in Swords Fall. I have 2 bull terriers, and I go nuts over anything that has a bull terrier in it too.
Yeah, man.
So
the mechs are gorgeous that they're coming out with for 5th Evan.
Oh yeah,
which is going to be on that roll app, the roll app that just finished its Kickstarter.
All right, I am going to I'm keeping track of this because I have a poll question I want to put up when we go on break. So, all right, I lost my list of all the questions that I've gotten so far. Let's see. This one we may have to branch across our break for in a minute, but I'm going to start the question now. So anybody who wants to jump in, I'm probably going to screw up the name. Tisha wants to know, do you have any favorite homebrew rules or equipment or weapons?
Resurrection limitations, or putting a roll to resurrection, is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How so? Like, how do you limit it?
It involves a whoever's casting the resurrection making some form of appropriate check, and I can't tell you off the top of my head right now, but I have a document saved on my computer for like it's like a DC 12 to revive someone the first time, and every time you try to revive them, the DC goes up as their soul becomes less and less intertwined with the living realm, just to give it a little more weight that you can't just revive people willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to say my favorite item that I've created is in our campaign now on Mics and Monsters. It's these living wrappings, and it's cool. He's on a monk, and I just feel like there's a lot of lackluster monk items out there. So it's living wrappings that will evolve over time with the host. Very Venom symbiote kind of relationship.
The worst homebrew rule I've ever gotten was monk related, in which a DM said you can play a monk but no quivering palm. And I was like, then what's the point?
Then what's the point? Yeah.
I'm calling you out, Riley.
Yeah, Riley, what the heck? I don't know Riley, but I feel like calling him out too.
He's in Afghanistan right now, so come home soon, Riley. Miss you.
Oh yes, please come home safely, Riley. I'm trying to think if I've had any good ones.
2 horses.
I got one that I'm not out of, but like it's a homebrew thing. And this is like a personal pet peeve in terms of how things are written. And feel free to correct me or be like, fuck off, because like I get it. But in my games, I don't let full casters use disengage actions. Because it's not like you're just like, oh, haha, let me slither out of here. Like it's a maneuver you have to learn. They have no reason to know it. They have no reason to be that close. So wizards can't disengage unless you actively learn how to disengage in my games.
That's really interesting.
That's good.
I've made cooler homebrew stuff, but none of it's coming to my head right now. That's all I can think of because I talked to someone about it the other day.
This is one I've only done in one campaign, but I really liked it. We have a lot of Magic the Gathering players in our game. So if someone dies and they get resurrected as part of that traumatic experience, I have them roll 3d20s. And if they roll 2 nat 20s on that roll, then their Planeswalker Spark ignites. And they can use the Plane Shift spell once a day for free. I've had it happen once in that campaign. And that was a fun house rule because they went to Innistrad and fought Kozilek, and it was fun.
So are we talking? I'm trying to think of like. So are we talking about just like something that we like an item that we have created, like as like a DM or a person who runs the game, and
Sure,
put in?
Yeah, anything that's a homebrew.
Okay. I do try to homebrew a lot of items just to like fit with the campaign or something like that. Just because I think it's more engaging and more fun, I think, to have like a specific item that's pertinent to maybe like the story or something. Because like not every time can you just go to the Dungeon Master's Guide and just pick an item or whatever system you're using and just be like, okay, this will work, you know. I'm trying to think like I'm trying to think of a good one I've made. I actually have like go ahead.
Kind of a question for everybody. It kind of has to do with this, but it's about clerics because this is something I've seen like I guess a lot of discourse on, and that is like how involved are your clerics deities? And this I guess could go with warlocks too. How involved are their patrons in your games? Like what do you lean towards in terms of that? I personally like having them heavily involved because that's not just something that happens like in my games. Like even priests aren't necessarily clerics, you know. And like people play D&D to feel like heroes sometimes, so I let them feel like they're heroes, you know.
It depends on the place. Like, that's something I talk about.
Speaking as a warlock patron, my wonderful Lurker in the Deep warlock played by B from FrostWalker's podcast Holloway. I play Lyranis, a siren, in our season 2 podcast, and she is the most involved warlock patron you will ever see in your entire life. She has woven herself into so many threads in the story that hey Heather, you better watch out.
Good. Do it. I dare you. I dare you.
Oh, I've already done it, and you're not ready. You're not ready.
I had a player like ditch their patron and look for another one because they got annoyed with how involved they were one time. He wanted to play a great old one, and he was like, I want them to be really involved. And he was like Zargon, and I was like, cool, Zargon's like gonna be a real hard patron to please. And he was like, cool. And then we got to the Feywild, and he was like, these guys seem really nice. Can I ditch Zargon for an Archfey? And I was like, big bad for the next arc. There you go.
Yeah. See my player warlock. My player warlock.
And that's like Holloway's whole thing is he wants to get away from Lyranis, the sexy siren. And so then
She's so hot. She's so hot. Oh my god.
I made my entire cast gay for her in about 4 seconds flat.
You should have seen chat when it was happening. We record on Discord, so there's always kind of like a chat going on while we're recording, and it was exploding with just like cap lock key smashes. Everyone was fucking losing it.
It made me feel so powerful that when she inevitably kills all of you, it's gonna be great.
The last time I played a warlock, his patron was his mom, so it was very
interesting.
So
that's amazing.
As a theater guy,
mama jokes must have been horrible.
As a theater guy, I love Shakespeare. That's like what I studied for grad school. So I made a warlock named Calico Jack, who was a Feywild bard warlock multiclass. He was the changeling adopted by Titania in Midsummer Night's Dream. Mm-hmm. And so he grew up being raised by Titania and hated by Oberon. And so the DM for that game was like, and he had Titania get kidnapped. So she was very involved from there on out as Jack's powers waned as a result of his mom being kidnapped. And it was really interesting.
Damn. Yeah, see, the warlock in my game, who's a cat, is siphoning power from a great old one that's his patron, and against the great old one's will. So,
The
I don't know how
warlock
he's
is a
doing it, but
cat?
yeah. Yeah, the warlock is a cat, like a Dreamland's
Nice.
cat.
Did you just say Nodos?
Yeah, of course I said Nodos.
Our warlock,
Nodos is a cat character in our podcast.
we love him. I
We love
actually, my cat had kittens, and I named a cat after this cat in our podcast.
Aw.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
adorable.
All right. Well, I am going to pause the conversation here right now because it's been an hour already. So we are going to stop for a quick break so our guests can get up, stretch their legs, refill drinks, all that good stuff. And hashtag free the pee. Yes, that needs to happen as well. And we will be back in about 5 to 8.32 minutes. Everybody, thanks for hanging out during that break. So the poll question that went up in chat over the break was whether or not anybody had ever backed a TTRPG Kickstarter. I think there was 11 votes and 6 people said yes and 5 people said no. It was just kind of a curiosity thing since we were talking about Kickstarters and that sort of thing. So I was curious about how many other people out there had backed a Kickstarter in the past. Let me see.
Even if
So
you can't back a Patreon, do it. Do it now.
Yeah.
I didn't
do it right
vote.
now.
Back HowINerd Patreon. It's $1.
Yeah, we have a Patreon. You can back ours. Actually, what I will suggest, and I'm not just saying this about HowINerd, I will say this about any Twitch streamer. If you have the option of either only being able to afford a sub or the Patreon, subscribe to their Patreon because they're going to get more bang for their buck out of that. Twitch takes 50% of the money that you give. Patreon only takes 5%. So there you go. So that is important to know. If if you're like, I have $5 a month that I want to give to somebody, which way should I do it? Do it through Patreon.
That's been a talk this past week or so, hasn't it? I've seen a lot of people posting even if it's $1, it's good.
Yep.
Have there been? It's who started
Ours is
that?
just
Did
$1.
someone say $1 means nothing or something?
I don't have a clue, but
You get, on Patreon for $1 you get 77, or the podcast or Twitch stream or whatever gets 77 cents. So
yeah,
it's better than
the 50 cents or the 50% that Twitch takes on a 1 month sub.
I only just hit affiliate, and even though I knew what it was gonna be, when they were like it's 50-50, I was like, oh.
So I'm gonna throw this out because this was a question that got asked last week and we didn't have time to answer it.
Ooh, we get the leftover questions.
It's a long one.
yeah.
And it's
exactly the way you word that.
And it's
Sloppy
a scenario, and
It's a
I got
leftover
yelled at
question.
because we didn't get to this question last week. So you ready?
Yep.
Ready.
Yeah.
Your party is exploring a dungeon. You have already faced 3 encounters and can sense that you are approaching the end. You enter a small antechamber. Large double doors directly across the room from you lead into what you think is the main hall. As you make the midway point of the room, you realize you're no longer alone. A small girl holding a teddy bear stands in the middle of your party, not making a sound, but looking each of you directly in the eyes. What do you do?
Nope.
Run.
Fireball.
Hit everybody.
Talk to her, dude. Talk to her.
I give the
Yeah.
kid a hug. It's a kid. I don't care if it's a monster.
I've
and
played
if it
Curse
is a monster,
Strahd.
you can fight it.
I've played Curse
You make it your
Strahd.
friend.
She's something.
Nope. No, what you do first is you cast Charm Person on it, and then you hug it, and you're like, we're best
Zone of
friends
Truth
now.
basket.
Zone
Zone of
Like
Truth.
we did the same thing.
You go all through it once. You get your Zone of Truth, your Charm Person, and then you get me, who just hugs it no matter what.
Here's the thing to think about.
Exactly.
Here's the thing to think about. What if classic misdirection is that the little girl is not the issue here? It's the teddy bear. The teddy bear is like some kind of a mimic or
you go.
transforms into
The
something.
teddy bear is some sort of ghost thing that's possessing the girl and
Yeah,
making her
yeah.
do evil.
Straight up though,
That's why I said run.
I know there's a metagamey aspect to it, but I know my GMs that I've played with, because I would do the same thing. Like, that's what you think, right? It's like, this is the girl from The Ring. This is Samara. She needs to die. But in reality, like, I know that you know that I think that, and it's just a kid because I want to.
And then you just murder an innocent child
Yeah.
who got lost.
In
I
all
think the
reality,
players
though,
always more likely to not trust you than trust you in terms of like, especially putting children into a campaign. Because I don't think I've ever had, like, in certain campaigns, I don't think I've ever actually put in a child that they were meant to distrust, but they have like killed child NPCs because they thought they were like possessed or demons or ghosts or whatever.
Oh my
I
gosh.
use
No.
children.
They're just kids. They're just kids.
Children are just hormones
man.
in themselves.
I use children for emotional terrorism, as my wife likes to put it. Because
See.
I do a great like little kid voice, and I need to find my mom, and my wife hates it.
Oh.
Creeped out.
I don't
Yes,
trust.
she
I don't
was-
trust that.
Big
She was
fan.
like,
Big
"Don't
fan.
you do that to me."
See, I
usually
use a
in my
one-shot.
games, the humans or the humanoids are more of a monster than the actual monsters are, or monstrous looking things are. So
I feel
I-
like Livy in the past has done a really good job of like subverting expectations in terms of who we should trust and who we shouldn't, because all of the cats in our campaign 2 of FrostWalker's, all of the cats, once we figured out that we could talk to some of the cats, they have this like crazy cat council bullshit going
Oh,
on.
yeah.
And they're like
Oh
trying
my
to
gosh.
possess my
That's
character.
that's
Love
what
it.
that is your next session. It's in my notes.
good.
Is you get to meet
Wait,
Wormwood, the cat council.
I-
dead ass?
I can pull up my notes and show you.
Are you like
but that would be
joking? You actually get to do that.
Oh
you
my
actually get
God.
to do the cat
Oh,
council. You get to
fuck
pet.
So you heard it here first,
folks.
folks. That's what's coming up next.
Yeah.
That's what's coming up, and it'll be episode I
13?
believe 13 of the
13,
podcast.
yeah.
No, 12.
I have to wonder.
Next
Are
week
you
on
familiar
episode
with
13.
Are you
I
familiar
think-
with the comic book Monstrous?
No.
You
I'm
would
not.
love it. So in that comic, I was just talking to my wife about this today because she's looking for some comic books to read. Maybe Monstrous is like, it's about, I don't know how to describe it. It's somewhere between like Godzilla, kaiju, monster stuff, and like high fantasy. And one of the main characters is a cat named Ren, who's a two-tailed cat. And cats in the world of Monstrous are Necomancers. They can speak to the dead. And they're like this, they're the only ones who can do that, and they have this whole society that's kind of Illuminati-esque that's their own. And when you said that, you need to check out Monstrous because I think you would love it.
I can see her GM brain gears turning.
It's
I
so
see
good.
I was
I
just
think
gonna.
y'all.
The
Well, I
cats
was
in my
An
world
elder cat
can
teaching
talk to the
kittens.
dead, but so can everyone else.
Mixed
There is-
Interesting.
I'm getting
All
so
of you have
much-
the ability to speak with someone who is dead, is all I'm saying.
But cats can speak to anyone who is dead.
Mm.
But also Eden can talk to cats, and she's just jazzed about that right now.
So
Yep,
I
and the
think y'all
cats
would
can
like
speak
our.
to Eden.
I think y'all would
I
like
know.
our Dreamlands cats in the Cats of Ulthar. Well, my twist on the Cats of Ulthar. So there.
Maybe
Do I
Do we
need-
all have something to do with a cat in one of our D&D campaigns? Wait,
Not
Do I
even
need to
don't
do the
think
that I
Notos
do.
voice?
I don't think that I do.
Okay,
I don't.
Okay.
tomorrow night,
love
though,
the
maybe
Notos
now
voice.
my cat will be a necromancer in High Hopes from the Kitchen. Maybe you guys have inspired that.
Yes.
Yes.
I wish I had tried to order like a cat nose, and I was gonna do like full like Broadway Cats makeup. but
Oh,
didn't come in,
no.
but it
Oh.
didn't make sense.
Don't.
Please.
Just
I'm
use
Do
gonna
it.
save
CG
Do
you.
it.
to make
No,
yourself
don't listen to
happy
them.
with
Do it.
cats.
All right, do it, but don't do it.
Are you
Do it,
fine?
but no.
Do it, but no.
Do 2012 YouTubers Dan and Phil and color sharpening markers all over your face and turn yourself
Absolutely
into a
not.
cat.
The look on his face right now says, "Don't tempt me."
Oh gosh.
My wife is so annoyed because she does not GM typically. She GM'd a Christmas one shot for us. She's a ballet teacher and she loves like her favorite is the Nutcracker, so she did a Nutcracker Christmas one shot for us. It's the only time she's GM'd. She's gonna GM tomorrow night, and it's the second time she's ever done it, and she's super nervous. And she was like, "Don't you do stupid makeup shit, because you're gonna throw me off so bad." She was like, "All you're gonna do is make me laugh, and I hate you."
Oh god.
All it takes is
True.
eyeshadow and some eyeliner. Do some like cats, like 80s style Broadway makeup, dude.
I'm
Just
going
do
full
some
Tim
whispers.
Curry.
Hell yeah.
Just
Yeah.
nice.
Every time,
Yeah,
every
do it.
time she gets up to like go to the bathroom or like looks for something, you draw another whisker on your face.
Yeah.
Knock her mug
it.
off of the table while
Oh
she's
my God,
watching.
there
Make
you
eye
go.
contact.
Yep.
Just
let a head do.
continuously make yourself look more and more like a cat when she's not looking, and then she'll slowly lose her mind.
Here you
And
go.
then
you'll
you'll
sleep
place
on the
yourself at your seat with a real cat at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Megan, you heard her. This is happening.
Oh my gosh. I'm curious, going back to the question that was asked, because like Liv, I know that you're a DM.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to know, if you were the DM in that scenario, what would your intention, like how would you design that little girl with the teddy bear? Like what would you want her to be?
She would be 100% an actual little girl, probably a goblin, actually, with a disguise spell on to make
Oh.
herself look like
Interesting.
a real little girl. And she'll probably want to lead them to, some, if it's knowing the party I'm playing with, you guys will all immediately adopt her, and she'll become the new leader of the entire campaign, and the new campaign will be reuniting her with her long lost parents or something. All I have to do is drop a kid or a cat in a situation and they will go with it.
Kids and Cats, the sequel to Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean,
Kitties and kitties.
kitties and kitties.
There you go.
There you go.
There we
I
go.
like Kitties and Kitties.
I'm-
Do they have a sword-based economy in Kitties and Kitties?
Yeah.
For sure.
But it's all toy swords because you can't give swords to
True.
kids.
They're little
Yeah.
cat
But
size.
in
Those
one
are
of my
cute.
first one-shots I ever ran for the FrostWalker's podcast, I had a little girl who had never tasted seafood and was running her parents' stall for them while they were out getting wasted.
Well then.
And
Aw.
that was her, and she was immediately adopted until her grandma came and picked her up.
Wow.
She had a giant dog. I can't remember her name or what she talked like. I just remember she kept asking what a starfish was.
Oh, no.
All right.
Descent into Avernus broke me of my adopting NPCs habit. I'm currently like halfway through Descent into Avernus, and man, that game is just wearing on me with every time I'm like, oh, look, an NPC who's in trouble. I'm lawful good, and they die.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh no.
Real bad.
I don't think I've ever adopted an NPC as a player.
You adopted Remus.
I did adopt Remus, but that was more like improv because, like, of course they're friends. Of course, Remus and Eden are friends. But like, I did get like my first NPC crush the first time I played because, of course, I DM'd before I played. That's just been my life up to this point.
Exactly. Same.
But,
yes.
I played, and my character is this like very gay, gnomish, like chaotic good ex-pirate, Tempest domain cleric. Favorite character I've ever made. I love her. She worships Cord. She's also going to multi-class into barbarian at some point. So she loves to get her fight on. And she got a crush on this NPC. Remember, she's a gnome who is a Goliath barbarian, a lady Goliath barbarian who wears red lipstick. And they got into a bar fight, and she wrecked this Goliath shit. She did so much damage. I rolled so well. And then after that,
I'm so
they
proud.
literally like became a thing. Like they fought, and then
Fell in
that was
love.
their flirting. They fought via flirting, and that's the
Cool.
closest
I
I got
love
ever
that.
adopting an NPC.
My players tend to adopt some okay, it's weird. Like so if this doesn't count as adopting NPCs, I don't know what it is. So currently the home game I run, because I don't have any like podcasts or anything like that of like an actual play podcast. Well, the home game I have, my players have been in this city for a while now, where all this stuff is taking place, and one of them, his name is Dweezilmilf the Magnanimous, and
Dweezilmilf?
Dweezilmilf, yeah.
That's a great
Dweezilmilf.
name.
He's a high elf eldritch knight, and he and the captain, who is a dragonborn named Hunter, those two during a festival basically went around like the festival grounds and all that stuff, recruiting people for this character Dweezilmilf, because like they went through all these different festival activities and events, and Dweezilmilf basically came out like on top of like the entire thing. And so basically what happens is all these like it was mainly a dwarven town, but all these dwarves ended up becoming the fan club of this character Dweezilmilf. They called themselves the Dweens because they were all like teenage adolescents. And so
Oh no.
it gets worse.
Oh, no.
So they have basically militarized this fan club to where they have like 3 what they call fire teams. Each fire team acts as a swarm of rats. And
God.
yeah,
It's a
and
swarm
so like
of rats.
as a swarm of rats, yeah. And so like basically like 3 of these swarms of rats can like basically just sweep into a dungeon or something, and just, I mean, they don't do a lot of damage, right? But I mean, they do some good crowd control and all this stuff. And it got so bad to where their characters actually ended up recruiting the parents of these adolescents, and it's almost like a weird cult now. And it's very wild. It's very weird. I never know what's gonna go on with them. And then the only other thing that they've adopted is a bugbear named Smokey Tony.
Oh.
All these young
Smokey the
people.
Bugbear.
Is your character a K-pop star? Like, what's going on here?
It's weird. Like so again, he's a high elf, and like they just leveled up last session, and so he is now this high elf who worships Moradin, and is like, may the bright light of Moradin's forge shine on you, my friends, and all these things. And it's so I don't know. Like, I've never had a player do these weird things before, and I'm loving it. It's so fun.
Anyone else got any great like my player did what stories?
Oh God, I have the ultimate one.
Go for it.
It ended with me improvising an entire apocalypse plot.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I ran. Okay, this is like my go-to story because it still blows my mind what happened to this day. So, I did this like random like encounter thing where it's like, oh my God, slod, right? They're like creatures made of disease. Somehow, this arcane plague got these slods sick. You need to get this special flower to make into a potion to help cure them, right? Simple enough. Kind of whatever, but simple enough. One of them, it manifested in like kind of these like black bits of like worms kind of bursting forth from their chest and kind of putting their larvae in their skin and growing through it. It was like horror. And one of my players decided to rip off one of the biggest worms, which I'm like, all right, fine, it's parasitic, it looks kind of like a lamprey. Attach it to the severed foot of a bandit, put it in a bird cage, and then try and bring it with them to the main city of the campaign, which is walled and which is heavily policed because they have a contraband problem. So they took this worm away, they broke into the fucking warehouse and stole the worm back. And they named it Jimbo, by the way, and started a fucking cult around it. Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done.
They started a cult around Jimbo the worm.
Jimbo the worm, which is a worm attached to a foot, to the point where I made a meme called Finding Jimbo. Like Finding Nemo, but Finding Jimbo. And one of them got so tired of it that they literally, like, illegally in the game bought a gun so that when they got Jimbo back, he brought Jimbo out to the middle of the street and quite literally killed the meme. I'm still not done. I was planning for none of this. I didn't expect this to ever come up. I wrote this as a one-off encounter, and they're like, I steal the worm. And then one of them decides to go and take one of the, like, more meat looking parts of the worm, because I described it as like what happens when you get the bloody mess perk in a Fallout game where everything just kind of like, and they took one of the meatier
disgusting.
parts and they sold it as like lamb.
Oh
And
no.
someone ate it, and
No.
I got this like awesome moment of like getting to describe, like, as you walk away, you see this like black sooty material starting to spread from the back of their neck, and everyone was like, shit. And no, this is a port city. This is this world's like largest trading city that they started this in.
Oh.
No.
So they started this incurable arcane plague around the world, and it turned into this like awesome arc that I'm super proud of, where they had to like go and make a plea to the goddess of secrets and do these trials in return for the secret of how to cure this. They fought this monster actually of the Mini-4. This is the plague miniature that I made
Disgusting.
with the tentacles.
That's amazing and horrible, and I love it.
I love hearing shit like that.
Disgusting, and it stays in my office. And all of that was like my number one what the fuck was that, because I was sitting there after they had defeated that guy, and I'm like, this is
not over
months.
yet.
Oh god.
He literally nearly ruined my world that I hit, which I would have like kept it
cool.
going. It would have turned into like a fun fantasy post-apocalyptic thing, but
That's awesome.
it turned out
That is pretty cool.
The best
It turned out well. But
the best what the hell D&D stories are indistinguishable from Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes. That's definitely like the gang accidentally starts a plague.
Yeah.
So that's how coronavirus started.
No.
You did this.
Oh gosh.
Too real.
That's just sad.
my players pull a lot of shit like that. A lot. I'm like going through the stories in my head, and I'm like, I perhaps have too many of my what the fuck was that stories with my players.
A lot of my favorites involve GMs, including myself. Like, I gave you what item when. My personal favorite was, because I like to roll items, and so do most of the people I play with. And the paladin got an item, and I'll save what it is for. We incorporated the Doom Vault module from Yawning Portal into our game, and there was this great lichy vampire who was like, "Give me an offering, or I will kill you all." It was this big dramatic thing. It was supposed to be like the big boss fight for the year, and the paladin's like, "I go up and offer a thing," and I slam dunk my Talisman of Ultimate Good into the altar.
Oh god.
And the GM was like, "When the hell did I give you that?" He's like, 2 years ago, dude. Did you forget? I've just been holding it.
Oh god.
My DM has given me like an all-powerful sword, and I've used it approximately 0 times.
Nice.
And I'm just waiting for the day that he finally forgets that he gave me this sword, and then I'll appear out of the shadows, eyes
those are the
gleaming
best
like Sans Undertale, and stab someone with it.
I gave you what? Oh.
My players don't know what I've given them, and I've given them a lot.
I've had the opposite too, where I've given them something good but pretended like it's mundane, and they're like, "I sold that for 5 gold. It did what?"
Oh man.
Well, maybe if you
Yeah.
had whatever.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Uh-oh.
I just remembered my favorite piece of homebrew, and that is, if you can surprise me with the alchemy jug's use of making a gallon of mayonnaise, if you can surprise me and do
No.
something useful with it, the entire party gets 1 point of inspiration.
Oh gosh.
That is
Challenging.
my
more
set rule.
I think
I've
one of
had
my
people make a
players-
flamethrower, or attempt to make a flamethrower, which involved me actually like going into my backyard and seeing exactly how flammable mayonnaise was, to see if that was plausible. It wasn't. But that's the closest anyone has ever gotten, was like trying to make a flamethrower.
See, my first go would be to think that to just use it on a sandwich, and that would surprise you. Like,
I use the alchemy jug to make a sandwich. It's the
Yeah,
best
like,
sandwich.
quite
ham,
likely.
ham, cheese, and mayo.
A couple of my players are in the chat, and one said, "I've heard the horror stories about Jimbo," and when I said the mayonnaise flamethrower, the one who did it fully claimed it,
Oh my
That was
God.
me.
just shamelessly.
Oh gosh.
How
That's-
to use mayo in 50 different ways. Welcome back to Dungeons with Babish.
Ooh. Mm.
Oh my
goodness.
gosh. All right, let's see. We haven't had a whole lot of questions from chat tonight. So chat, just a reminder, if you have any questions that you would like to throw out, we have about 20 minutes left. So feel free to drop those in chat and we will get those. Let's see. In the meantime, I'm going to grab another question that I kind of liked. Let's see, where is it?
Mayo is a torture aid.
I
Yeah, I
like
saw
that.
too.
No.
What are you doing?
The smell gets bad.
You're gonna slather it very slowly, starting from their toes, working your way up to the top of their head, just very slowly with a rusty butter knife. Just
Oh,
Why
Let
do
me-
you make it
Oh,
sound like a BDSM thing? That's like
God.
that's the first thing that
no.
came into my head. I'm sorry.
you know someone's into that. You know
I
it.
don't. This is all off
If
the
you're-
dome.
If you're into that, stay the hell away from me.
I'm not. Don't worry.
so I was thinking mayo boarding, but
Invitation
you've never-
rescinded.
You've never stuck your big toe in a jar of mayonnaise just to test the waters or the mayonnaise?
No.
I've lost control of this show tonight.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay. So
I don't have any words for that.
what if our game's economy was based on mayonnaise?
Hey,
Can I trade you 12 swords for that jar of mayonnaise?
artificers would be rich as fuck.
They
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Someone also in chat says, if I remember correctly, a party. Oh no, wait. An awful sword out of burnt mayo is another thing that happened. But someone said slather it on
Oh,
a
wow.
prisoner. Another party member asked, "What are you doing?" Reply, "Marinating the meat."
Oh God.
Oh man,
Marinating the meat. Don't worry.
But yeah, I also
I'll
had
make it
someone try
rain.
to eat
Mayo.
like the
Yeah.
burnt mayo slag in the flamethrower experiment, and then I had someone try to forge a sword using mayonnaise as fuel, which I was like, hell no, it doesn't burn hot enough. But they tried. And then they ate like the burnt mayonnaise slag, and they rolled like dumb high on their con saves. They didn't throw up miraculously, but that was a meme
gross.
for a good while.
I actually do have a food related question. I'm currently making a Mississippi pot roast in the other room here. What is your guys's like? What is everyone's I guess like go to dish that they just like you can make it 10 times in a week and you probably wouldn't get old with it. Like old with it. I mean, you could make it 10 times in a week and you just wouldn't get tired of it.
Mine changes, but right
Yeah,
now
mine
I'm
does
on
too.
I'm on a big hot wings kick right now. I actually I
Mm.
promised on Twitter the other day because I've started this interview show. I've started watching a lot of hot ones, and I was like, if I get 50 subs this year, I'll order the pack of hot sauce from Hot Ones because I hate myself apparently. But if I'm gonna do that, I'm eating lots of lots of hot sauce in between now and then. So I'm on a hot wings thing right now.
Nice.
Mm.
I also make
I-
lots of tacos.
That's fair. I really like roasted cauliflower because you can do so much with it. And like cauliflower is actually pretty good, and it's pretty like calorie low in terms of like a normal person, like not healthy food. Also probably hot wings right now.
I'm
eating
gonna
a
be
lot of
boring and say
eggs.
like grilled chicken and sweet potatoes. That has been
Ooh,
like
Sounds
my
really good.
lunch
That sounds really, really good.
every day.
Like a good Caesar salad is another one.
I will say as a good Tennessee human being, buttermilk biscuits will never get old as well. Like
Mm.
homemade, fresh out of the
Yeah.
oven.
Oh yeah. I was actually just having this conversation with somebody earlier today about like he was a friend of mine was streaming and he was asking chat. He was like, "So chat, what are you guys making for dinner tonight? I need some ideas, you know." And so we ended up getting into this big discussion about rice. And right now I'm on a big rice kick. So like anything that has rice in it, on it, around it, like that's like my go-to right now. So like, oh, we have leftovers. I'll just throw some rice on it. And now it's a whole new dish, you know?
I mean, that's
Just
what I
throw
would
some
do.
rice on that.
Yeah. I mean,
Wolf
we had
blood Helen.
leftover taco meat and I threw some rice on it and boom, it was like taco rice.
Mhm.
See, I would
Nice.
throw
Yeah.
like some chips in there and
Yeah.
be like, boom.
I have
Now
to
it's
answer.
nachos.
Wolf's Blood asks Princess or Helen's. I will say I'm not in Nashville. I am 30 minutes north of Nashville in Clarksville, Tennessee. You can take the last train here or whatever the joke is. I don't care. But Helen's, because they built one in Clarksville, and so I can get it easier than Princess, and it's also just really good. If you find yourself in Nashville, try both though. Also, 5 Points Pizza in Nashville is really good.
Bat Duck,
Yeah, my
where were
big
you when we
thing-
were discussing cats?
Yeah, my big
You
thing
are late,
recently,
Fat Duck.
I've been I keep making my own homemade chicken nuggets, and I keep changing the breading over and over. I'm allergic to wheat, so I use whatever I got around that's gluten free, you know. And
What's been the
and
best
I
result so
can't
far?
almond flour.
Mhm.
That's been my
Nice.
favorite.
I'm
And
currently
I can't
yeah.
get enough of eggs and bacon. Like for some reason, I just can't eat enough of eggs and bacon right now.
Love it.
I am probably the only American besides those who literally don't eat bacon who is against bacon.
You just not
It's
like it?
gross. It's gross. If you don't cook it enough, it's got a bad texture. If you cook it too much, it's drenched in grease. Or
I like
and
the
it's
texture. Take a paper towel to
salty
that.
and it's
Dab the grease
Paper
on
bad.
towel.
Yeah.
See, my dad makes bacon and he gets mad if you dab a single drop of the grease off.
Oh,
Because that's where
geez.
the flavor is.
That's
Oh.
just
Well, here's
But
the thing. Use
put it
that
on your
bacon
plate.
grease. Use that bacon grease to make eggs. Like just like don't use oil or
Yes.
whatever. Like just put it in the eggs.
Or
But
cupcakes.
if you drain your bacon grease on a paper towel, we
I
have
don't
a
know
wood
about
stove.
cupcake.
So
Delicious.
we'll just like put the bacon on a paper towel and let the like extra grease kind of drip off of it, and we'll put the paper towel on the wood stove and let the neighborhood cats go absolutely fucking bananas.
That would be good.
The
I
cats
heard
are like,
about somebody
"Where's
not
the
too long
food?"
ago making bacon grease candles, and I was like,
Oh,
I don't know how I feel about that.
no.
No.
I don't know about that.
Not if you have animals.
I'm against that.
yeah, I was like, I don't think I like the idea of that at all.
But bacon cupcakes are delicious.
Nah.
That is true.
It's like okay.
No.
You do you all remember? I don't know if it's still a thing, but do you all remember maybe like 2010 when it was like bacon everything, bacon toothpaste,
Oh,
bacon
God,
ice
yeah.
cream,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
overboard.
bacon
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's just like what was that YouTube channel that was big way back then? It was like Man versus
Man
not
versus Food?
No, it wasn't
No.
that.
Oh my God, Harley Mortenstein is the main guy. Fuck.
Yeah. Like they just made like bacon after bacon after bacon, like bacon sheets,
Bacon and
it was just,
bacon and
like,
bacon. Yeah.
and bacon and bacon and bacon. It was like
Epic mealtime. Epic mealtime.
mealtime. That's it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That reminds me. Has anyone done like an eating contest in their games? Because I feel like that's a thing that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I've definitely had my
have not.
characters do eating contests, as well as a shots contest in the Feywild.
Yep.
But that one got weird because every
Yeah,
shot
different.
meant you rolled on the wild magic table.
Ooh,
I've
that'd be
done something
fun.
like that
didn't-
actually. A drinking game with wild magic alcohol. I've done that.
Mhm.
We didn't do a shots contest. We did an apple juice drinking contest that was led by Heather playing Eden,
Yeah. I
who didn't want to try
deliberately-
alcohol.
Yeah, I deliberately made a character that is like a sweet, innocent, sheltered, naive, but like
She's a
very
Disney
charming
princess.
and
She's a
very sweet.
Disney
She's a Disney
princess.
princess. And I like gave her to Livy, and I'm like, here's my nice little character. Go fuck her up. Go absolutely
You
eviscerate
don't know.
her.
You don't know
Make, like-
how badly I have
And I
messed
was
up.
like, I don't want to recognize her by the end of the campaign. I want her to be a completely different person. Fuck her up.
Whoa.
Damn.
I've destroyed this character's backstory because Heather gave me a paragraph. She said, she has a mom, she has a dad, she lives with them. Here you go.
Yeah. And I was like,
And
her
I
dad
said, all right.
kind of doesn't like her. And that's like her tragic backstory is like her dad doesn't
Oh.
really talk to her.
Her dad doesn't talk to her. I'm not saying her dad doesn't like her.
Her dad doesn't speak to her, period. Like he will not
He won't
through
look
his
at
camera or
her.
speak to her. It's really interesting. And I really,
And
as a
I've
person,
got secrets.
out of character, want to know what the fuck is going on. But in character,
She
Eden's
won't
just
know.
like, no clue. She's like, everything's fine.
And she had an apple juice drinking contest, which to anyone outside the bar looked like a normal drinking contest because it's just, big mugs of ale, but it's apple juice. And Eden slammed it back in 0.3 seconds. An entire mug of apple juice.
Oh my
and
gosh.
she's like a very recognizable, like high-end
Noble.
merchant's daughter to the point where she's basically considered nobility. So anyone walking by would have seen this like notoriously good girl from a good family just like throwing back an entire beer in like less than a few seconds.
That is how I introduced the main NPC. Is he happened to be walking by and just poked his head and went, "Eden, are you drinking?"
She's like, no, it's apple juice.
Here,
I don't know why
kid,
that makes
try
me.
some.
I'm on a Studio Ghibli binge right now, and that feels very Hayao Miyazaki in a good
does.
way.
Their food
Mhm.
looks amazing. All of it.
Always.
I want that herring casserole. I just finished Kiki's delivery service today. I want that casserole pot pie thing. Dang it.
Oh, all right. Well, I am very sorry to have to do this, but we need to start wrapping up because we are just about out of time. So what I'm going to ask everybody to do, I'm just going to go around one more time. Remind us of who you are and what streams or podcasts or projects you have going on, and yeah, we'll go from there. Kitty! We finally got a kitty on stream. Yay! So we're gonna go in the reverse order of the way we started, and Heather, we're gonna start with you.
Sorry, what are we doing again? I got distracted by the cat.
That's easy to do. I completely
Mood.
understand. So we're just gonna we're gonna get start signing off. So we're just gonna remind everybody of who you are and where they can find your podcast or streams or anything along those lines. And so we're gonna start with you.
Yeah, I'm Heather. You can find me at DM Dad Jokes on Instagram or Heather Ritchie, RITCHIIE on Twitter. There's a link somewhere. Keep an eye out on DM Dad Jokes because I really like making props for my D&D games, and I'm considering starting a YouTube channel about that soon.
Neat.
Please do.
Keep an eye out.
As I have one of your props from your Etsy shop. Yes, please
actually.
keep doing that.
I
It's
also sell Link
wonderful.
Ocean Rollers on my Etsy shop.
They're amazing, and I love them.
Nice.
I want
Etsy.com/shop/Goblin Core Store. They're like $6. They're affordable. Get one.
Excellent. What's the name of your shop?
Etsy.com/shop/Goblin Core Store.
Okay.
Because we sell all
Goblin
the shiny things.
Ooh, nice.
Yay, shiny things.
There's lots of shiny rocks and other
Lots
things that
of
I need to
jewelry.
restrain myself from not buying.
I actually was wearing some earlier in the stream. These are some like really pretty carnelian pieces. But
Ooh.
Goblin Brain
Nice.
loves shiny click clack rocks.
exactly.
Yeah.
I make my own dice. I have a fucking. This is all my unfinished dice that I have to sand.
Oh my gosh.
You
I recently ordered some. My friend
Yes.
made me some Dragon Ball dice that have little stars in them, and it makes me happy.
Oh,
that
I love
does,
those.
yeah, you gotta share that.
I don't
if you haven't already.
know.
I'll tweet a picture out.
Okay.
For those of you guys that make dice, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Ribinator.
I am.
I am.
He's coming on our stream next month, so
Telling
be on the
me
lookout for that.
hi.
Yeah, keep an eye on Twitter. He'll be coming on in September again. We've had him on before, and so yeah, we're excited to have him back. So Yeah, very cool. All right, let's see. Let's go down to IronBoundChest, or as somebody said in chat, Ironbound Kitty.
I am the Ironbound Kitty. Yeah, so again, my name is Austin. I am the host, creator, everything, the one-man team of the IronBoundChest. I am a interview style podcast, but it's just more than that. Yeah, I don't do anything but just the podcast right now, though. Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter. It's at IronBoundChest, no underscores, no nothing. You can find me on Instagram as well. I also have a Facebook page if you just search the IronBoundChest. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I've had the pleasure again of speaking to both Mike of MicsAndMosnters and Luna, who is our lovely host tonight, and I've had a wonderful time. And I believe I believe I have an interview with FrostWalker's here coming up sometime in the future. And
This
so
is news to me.
I believe I
happened
have it
here,
in my
folks.
notes. Yeah, you heard it here first. But yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting to talk to more cool nerdy people. So, but yeah, don't be
How
shy
dare
to
you
say
assume
hi.
we're cool?
Just from this conversation tonight, you're very, very cool. All of you are very cool.
Well, we only bring cool people on the show. That's like a rule. So
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn
What
straight.
am I doing here?
Right?
Huh.
How
Oh
did I
gosh.
make it on? Who did I convince?
I must be
And
really hard.
all right. And speaking of Mics and Monsters, that's where we'll go next.
That's me. I'm Adam, the DM over at Microphones and Monsters. And I mean, we're everywhere. All the podcasting apps, social media. You can find everything at microphonesandmonsters.com. Our episodes are 30 to 45 minutes long. So season 1 is about to come up here at the end of the month, August 31st. And now's a good time to binge if you've never listened to us. If you like horror, mystery, and some good laughs too, to comedic relief to break the tension, you know. And yeah, that's it.
All right. And thank you so much. Casey, moving on to you.
Hey, I am the artist formerly known as Dice Populi, but no, for real, you can find me
So
on Twitch
sorry.
and on.
I'm sorry, dude. You just fucking cracked me up, man. Oh, that was great.
Oh, Harvey. We just got
But anyways, yeah, you can find me at Caseyt92 on both Twitch and YouTube. I do live plays on Fridays for Friday night playtest. We go through as many new and indie RPGs as we can to show them off and highlight those amazing creators in our community. And then every other Saturday, I do an interview stream where I bring someone on from our community and we talk about something to help people find their place and find the games they'll love the most. Also, Saturday night, I'm going to be on Chaotic Tiefling's stream playing Slender in The Merry Wives of Windsor, a play by William Shakespeare.
Whoa.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah,
very
I'm
cool.
Super excited about it. They're doing a whole series for the summer for creators who are kind of out of work right now. And it's going to be super cool.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow night we're playing High Hopes in the Kitchen. I don't understand why I cannot have the chicken. So if you like cats and thievery, then come watch. It's going to be great.
You gotta get that nose.
Oh yeah. Get the
I
prosthetic.
can't.
Yeah, I want to see pictures on Twitter.
Go full kitty.
Yes, please.
I will
Blackmail.
share all the photos. I will have a great time with it.
Good.
But yeah, check out all the stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And last but absolutely not least, we have Livia.
All right, I'm Livia. You can find me on my art Instagram at livia.b.art. You can find our podcast at Podcast Frost on, I believe, Instagram and Twitter, or it's FrostWalker's podcast on Instagram. I'm getting them all mixed up. Just search FrostWalker's podcast. You'll find us. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, everything. YouTube. We've got a bunch of cool stuff that's going to be going up on our YouTube. We have exclusive episodes of something I'm very proud of, a extremely chaotic serial-based, completely serial-based one-shot that I ran called The Box Top Gang. It stars me as the DM, who literally had nothing but cereal mascots written down as notes. It's completely improv, and it's a chaotic, not really chaotic good, as they did end up murdering about 30 people, and they're all 12-year-old children.
Oh God.
Younger.
Oh my gosh.
They're all children, and they accidentally murdered 30 people. But we love them.
All right.
And also everyone is named after cereal. So we have Cheerio, Honey Nut, Kellogg, and Jack's Apple Jacks. And it's just, there's a lot of cool exclusive stuff up on the YouTube, including some stuff that's going to be coming soon that I'm excited to get working on.
Very
Awesome. That sounds awesome. I was, while you were talking, I was looking you up on Instagram, so I follow you now on Instagram. So there's that. Awesome. All right. Well, this has been Tales from the Tavern this week. I am Gamer Mom Luna. You all know me as Luna. And you can join us here on the HowINerd channel on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern for our, oh my God, I just drew a complete blank on the words. For our flagship show, Tabletop Tavern, which is a Pathfinder First Edition campaign. Monday nights, we have our Cyberpunk Savage Worlds, which is set in 1980s retro wave Boston, Neural Nexus Zero. That is in a very cool campaign with a great cast. So check that out. That one's at 9 p.m. Eastern, if you haven't had the chance to see that yet. Right now, we have Tuesdays set aside for our upcoming Star Wars campaign. That will be starting later this year, so keep an eye out for that. Next week on Tales from the Tavern, we're going to be doing a cast reveal episode. So come back and check that out, because we had over 50 people apply to be in this show. And so we are super excited about the cast that we have picked, and can't wait to showcase them all. And then let's see, Wednesday nights we have Tabletop Tavern 2, which is our second Pathfinder First Edition campaign, which is going really well. It's a lot of fun. We have a first-time DM running that show, 8 p.m. Eastern for that one. And then Thursday nights, you can join us here for Tales from the Tavern. If you are interested in joining me on Tales from the Tavern sometime, just shoot me a message on Discord, Twitch, Twitter, wherever. We're always looking for awesome people to come on and talk TTRPGs and all kinds of fun, nerdy stuff. So let me know. One other thing I just want to share is that if you are a Twitch streamer and your content focuses primarily on TTRPG content, we do have the Storytellers Union, which is our Twitch stream team. So if you are interested in finding out more about that, you can also shoot me a message on Discord or Twitter or anywhere, and I'll get you the information. We've got, we just welcomed 2 new members to the team. I think we're up to 10 channels now. So that's very cool. So yeah, we got a lot going on over here. So thank you guys again for coming to hang out. We are going to go raid Indigo Chameleon. They are live right now. They're part of the Storytellers Union. So we're going to go take the love over to them, and I hope you all have a great night. See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Of course, now we're waiting for the raid to go through. There we go.